Hi everybody, welcome to today's bouquet class. Hope you're doing well. All right, are we ready for a really fun bouquet class? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Excellent. Does everyone have a sketch ready? So you should have something similar to this. You could just give me a thumbs up. Okay, super. Okay, don't forget if you have questions during the class, you can always ask me. But for now, I'm going to keep everyone muted just so you hear me 100% and there's no background distractions. So on that note, let's go over the supplies quickly. I have 100% watercolor paper that I'm using today. For best results, I always recommend 100% cotton. And if you like the supplies that I'm using, so the paints and the paper, I do have a discount code that's in your email. So if you're interested in that, you can go check it out. So that's it for the paper. For paints, I'm using a few different colors today. So I have brown, orange, yellow, red, sky blue, ultramarine blue, purple, and green. Okay, so remember the tones of and the shades of each color are not super important for this class. As long as you have just like the basic colors, that's fine. And then for brushes, I'm just using two different brushes here. I have a larger one, they're both round, and a smaller one. So this one's for the details, for the stems and stuff like that, and this one will be for all the big petals and so on and so forth. I will show you once we get to that point. Okay, so you should have your sketch ready. So everyone said they had it, that's great. So we are gonna get started with some practice exercises. So I did ask you to sketch out a few more practices. I'm just going to move this aside for now. Okay, so make sure to have some paper towel nearby so that you can clean your brushes as we go. And this is our practice. Okay, so we have quite a few different flowers today, and we are going to be doing them in steps. So the first one we're going to try out is the yellow one. Okay, the yellow one is this one here. So if you looked at the original sketch, it's very abstract. It's almost like kind of blurry, and I did that on purpose because the point of this class is not to focus on the sketch, it's to focus on the techniques within the painting. So this is just so you know the general layout, but remember, it's all about the painting part, not so much the sketch. Okay, and the sketch is there to guide you, so I do recommend having it not too dark. In my case, it's super dark. I always do that because I want the students to see what I'm doing, but I do recommend it lighter than this just so you don't see everything and you can focus more on the painting once you're done rather than having, you know, the outline. But it's also a style that some people like. So if you like it, you can also go ahead and even outline with a pen. Some people like to do that. Okay, so first thing I like to do is grab my big brush. I'm dipping it into the water directly. Okay, then I could dip it into my yellow. And you could just test out the color to try it for now. And we also need some orange in this flower. So just test out your orange for now, just so you can see what your colors look like. Remember, you can clean your brush as you go. Okay, so this is actually not too complicated. Basically what we want to do is just add a little bit of orange into the yellow like that. So I'm just doing dots inside the yellow, and you're just going to let that bleed. Okay, and we will be doing that in the center of the flowers. So what I mean by that is that we'll be painting everything in yellow, pure yellow, and then we'll be dropping in some orange in the center area, so around this circle. And we'll be keeping that circle empty, so we don't want any color for now, no water. Okay, so we can start practicing this one now. So look, you just want to fill it in with yellow like this. Remember, you can pass over the lines, but there's no issue with that in this class. And just keep some of that center empty, so no color, no water. You want the flowers really nice and yellow, so be generous with the yellow, okay? You can add a little bit more in certain areas if you want. Some areas you can keep a little more transparent just so you have like a variety and the flower doesn't look too flat. Okay, so what I recommend is maybe starting off light like this. You start light And then if you want to add some darker yellow, it's the same yellow, you're just adding more pigment. You just go back into the yellow, and then if you add a bit more in one section, you'll notice, you see how that's darker than that? So that's what you're going to do within the flower. Just add some splotches that are a bit darker in certain areas. You decide where, it doesn't matter where. Okay, while the flower is still wet, and it's important that it's wet, otherwise the bleeding doesn't work, as you know, we are going to just add in some dots around the circle here of our orange, and that's a lot. So I would recommend using a bit less than what I just put, because we don't want it to be too orange and too overpowering. So something like that is good. Okay, and then you just let that bleed. If you notice that the orange is disappearing too much and you don't see it at all, I do recommend maybe putting a little bit more, but you really don't need to overdo it. As long as your orange is visible and you could see that it's starting to bleed, that's perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to give you some time to practice that. Feel free to do another one. Okay, so if I were to do another one, I'll do another one also just to show you again. So I'll do it up here. This time I don't have my sketch, that's fine. I could just imagine that there's a circle in the center here. And then I'm just adding pure yellow for now, all around, creating these petals, playful petals, like that. And then I can add some more yellow to some of the petals. So you decide where. You can really go into your yellow, and then you can add some strokes of more concentrated yellow, following the shape of the petals. So like this. So I add, let's say, one line here or a line there. It doesn't matter. But you could see how now there's a nice variety and the flower doesn't look flat. So it's a really good technique to do that. Now you clean your brush after you're done with your yellow, and you grab the orange, and you could test it first on your palette to see if you like the shade that you have. If you want it more watered down, you can just add more water, and that will make it more transparent. Okay, for this, I use the very tip of the brush and just wanted to show you a little snippet of one of my newer classes. This is a really fun bouquet class, and it's a full 1 hour tutorial where I dive in and explain every single step in detail. As you can see, we do practice exercises together. I answer questions from the students when there are any, and I also explain every single element in the painting really detailed so that you can understand it every step of the way, and so that you have all the tools necessary to create your own beautiful painting that you can then frame at home. So I have students that have walls filled with their paintings that they have framed at home. I have students who have gifted these to people who have even won competitions, and yeah, just some incredible stories over the years of teaching, and some beautiful paintings that they've created over time. So very, very excited to see this progress, and hopefully you will decide to join one of my classes and learn from me, because I know that, you're going to learn so much, and you will be able to create some work that you are super proud of. And yeah, it's also obviously a super fun and therapeutic medium to work with that I highly recommend trying out if you haven't already. And that's it. If you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to email me directly. My email is biancarosendesign@gmail.com. And also please join the Facebook group where I share more about my classes. You could just search for the group on Facebook. It's called Watercolor Classes for Beginners with Bianca Rosen. So I really hope you join us, and I hope to see you at a class really soon. hope that you enjoyed this little teaser and that you'll be back to paint with me very soon. Bye for now.